Hello everyone and welcome to this short video on English Language Paper 2, Section B, Transactional Writing. Before we get started on today's question, I want to remind you of both language papers, the reading and the writing sections. Should you want to make more notes or look at this in more detail, I suggest you pause the recording until you are ready to continue. If not, we'll continue with today's question. This series of videos will go through each question from the reading and writing sections of Paper 1 and Paper 2, so you feel super confident before sitting your exams. For English Language Paper 2, Section B, Transactional Writing, you'll be asked to answer one writing question. This will allow you to produce a written piece for a specified purpose, audience and form, giving your own perspective on the theme that has been introduced to you in Section A. We suggest you spend about 45 minutes on this question, perhaps 55 with extra time, and that includes some planning time and some proofreading and improvement time at the end of your piece. Here is an example question. Shows like I'm a Celebrity are a disgusting violation of animal rights and the show should be cancelled immediately. Write a letter to ITV sharing your view on this matter. So we have a statement to respond to and then the writing task to complete. And if we look at what AQA want from a letter, we can see the use of addresses and a date to begin with, but then also a formal mode of address to our recipient, effectively and fluently sequenced paragraphs, making sure we have a really strong, clear argument, an appropriate mode of signing off at the end. So the purpose here is to persuade Ant and Dec, the ITV executives, to abandon the show, to persuade others also not to watch. We want to keep our tone formal and serious. This is a controversial topic that have affected many and we want to be taken seriously. So for letters, after we have our addresses and our date, how might we choose to lay out our letter? We'll start with a clear address to the reader with an introduction linked to the question and to the purpose. I should be able to work out from the opening paragraph of your letter what your stance is and the viewpoint you're going to argue. I would then go on to at least 3 ideas supporting your argument, ending with the strongest. This is particularly important if you think about including a counter-argument. I would suggest that goes between point 2 and point 3, so you are able to show that you understand opposing ideas and dismiss them. But you leave your reader with point 3, your own side of the argument, which is your strongest. You can then have a clear conclusion that gives a brief summary of what you've said and establishes what you want to happen now as a result of your letter. Here we have an example letter responding to the statement we've just looked at, as well as a reminder of your assessment objectives. So we can see AO5 is your content in your organisation. It is the ideas you come up with, the layout of your chosen text, the way you've structured your paragraphs and the information you have shared. It goes from simple to some to consistent and clear to compelling. You can also see there for AO6 we've got spelling, punctuation and grammar, and it goes from occasional use to sometimes secure, mostly secure and consistently secure. It's worth noting here that it's not just about being accurate though. We want punctuation and vocabulary choices to be used for effect, to engage the reader, as well as just being accurate. So let's now have a look at the letter itself. Now, this was a real letter sent by Chris Packham to Ant and Dec. And whilst it's a real letter, it also follows a lots of the things that we would want it to include if we were writing this for an exam. It opens with a clear understanding of what the topic is and his viewpoint. It goes on to explore a number of reasons why he's writing and why he thinks that they need to stop. And it has some suggestion at the end of what he would like them to do as a result of his letter. Dear Mr. Ant and Dec, I'm writing once again about the abuse of animals and I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. I make no apologies for being tenacious. I'd like to call upon your consciences to reconsider the validity of your bush tucker trials, to cease these and to end all involvement of animals in your forthcoming series. You see, since the programme first aired in 2002, the world and its attitudes have moved on. Many of us have always found these abuses repugnant, but now a far greater number of people have woken up to the fact that we are facing a climate and environmental emergency and that we are precipitating a mass extinction event. Here are a couple of statistics for you to think about. Since around the time you were both born, we have lost between 40 and 50% of all the world's wildlife. Since you were born, we've lost 90 million birds from the UK countryside. Further, to say that exploiting animals for entertainment is a thing of the past in civilised societies in the 21st century should be a given. Circuses have gone, dancing bears have gone, cock and dog fighting are the sad preserve of psychopathic criminals. We have no performing dolphins in the UK and no chimpanzees dressed up for tea time. The cruel exploitation of wildlife for gratuitous entertainment on your programme is now no more than an ugly anachronism. It's embarrassing the great reputation of the UK as a nation of animal lovers. I am certain that you and the imaginative producers at ITV could find very entertaining ways of replacing these segments of your show. So can I please, on behalf of a large and growing number of people, ask you to immediately stop abusing animals and I'm a Celebrity. Declan, you have a daughter. Please think about how she will perceive your actions as she grows into a world increasingly devoid of wildlife. We are now all aware that we have a duty to safeguard our world for future generations. I look forward to your reply. Yours sincerely, Chris Packham. So hopefully you can see there where this letter has fitted all of the layout suggestions and the kind of content suggestions that we have for a letter and something you can use to replicate your own. So to finish this video then, I want to go back to something we have looked at in lessons and thinking about that structure before you go on to write your own letter. So here's a reminder of some of the things we wanted you to think about. Think firstly about the descriptive hook, beginning by describing a scene that's relevant to the question. Do not express your view, don't tell me what it is, show me what it is. It should be implied by what you are describing, and ask us to perhaps imagine a scene. Position. Think clearly about your position on the issue. For an overview as to why you think what you do and the key issues that are relevant to this debate. Make your piece relevant. Make the point the debate is now relevant to one society and explain why this is the case. Why should people think about this issue now? Now, by this point, you've explained the problem and your view, but now you need to offer a solution. It's not enough simply to describe the issue, there must be a call to action. You need to encourage or ask a reader to do something. Now, while these are going to have to be really carefully thought about for each text type and each audience or purpose you are exploring, here are some of those things to think about before you start writing, once you have all of your ideas in place, so that you can make sure you are really successful. As a reminder, on the right hand side is just that letter layout. This is the kind of layout we'd expect you to use in an exam for a letter using all those brilliant ideas you've now come up with. So I hope you found this really useful and go on to look at some of our other videos on question 5 tasks.